Hey, my friend, we're diving into the daily grind of ancient Greek folk, where homes were rough, diets were dull, and yet those very struggles forged a resilient spirit that built a civilization against all odds. But today, we're transplanting that grit to a different soil. Imagine waking in a humble shack on the outskirts of Savannah, Georgia, where the challenges echo that ancient tenacity. Dawn's light creeps through tattered curtains, dusting a tamped earth floor. No alarm clock jolts you awake, just summer's sticky heat clinging to your skin, whispering, "The day's begun, and it's not kind." You're not a modern citizen with AC and morning coffee. You're an ordinary soul in a primal community, where each day is a quiet fight to survive. Welcome to a world where life is measured in sweat, patience, and fleeting glimmers of hope amid relentless hardship. Your home is a crude hut, its walls raw oak, roof thatched with dry leaves. No glass windows, just wooden slats against coastal winds and prowling beasts from nearby forests. No electricity, no running water, no conveniences. As the sun rises, the hut turns oven-like, heat radiating from the ground, seeping through cracks, rousing you not by choice but necessity. You uncurl on a straw mat, head pillowed on a folded, worn shirt. Last night, you might have dreamed of cooling rain, but morning brings only dust and parched air. You rise, back aching from the hard ground, eyes stinging from last night's fire smoke lingering in the air. No bathroom, no shower. To wash, you grab a clay jug and trudge a pebbled path to a creek near Charleston. There, you scoop cold water, splashing your face, each drop a small comfort. Sometimes, you chew a mint leaf to mask morning breath. Personal hygiene? A luxury. You might rub sunflower seed oil on your skin, scraping dirt with a flat stone. No soap, no privacy, just the creek and curious neighbors doing the same. Your clothes are a coarse cloth, draped like a blanket, tied with rope. It doesn't fit, isn't comfortable, and if Chesapeake Bay breezes gust, you pray it stays put. Barefoot is standard, unless you've scraped enough for leather sandals from Richmond's market. Streets here aren't sidewalks, but muddy trails strewn with animal dung and yesterday's market refuse. Each step dodges sharp stones and stagnant puddles. You haven't eaten, haven't drunk, yet your body's already weary. And this is just the day's start. Breakfast isn't a meal. It's a survival rite. You squat by last night's warm ashes, picking up a leftover cornbread chunk. It's dry, tough, flavorless, as if the earth withheld its grace. You chew slowly, guarding teeth, sometimes dipping it in diluted wild grape wine to dull the bitterness. Clean water's scarce, often murky from streams or wells, so weak wine's safer, even for kids. If lucky, you've a foraged apple from near Atlanta, but don't dream of cheese or meat. Those are for landowners or the powerful. Your family, if you have one, crowds the same room. No dining table, no chairs, just a mat on the floor. You eat fast, no chatter, no lingering. If you're a woman, you might wait for men to finish, scavenging crumbs. You don't question this injustice. It's how the world turns. Cornbread, watery wine, and a sliver of hope today won't be too harsh. That's your fuel. Yet in this scarcity burns a quiet resilience, an iron will no flame can consume. This life isn't just physical survival, it's a mental gauntlet. Daily, you face heat, hunger, exhaustion, yet you rise. Why? Somewhere in your heart, you know this harsh world is yours. You're part of this land, Tennessee's boundless forests, Mississippi's rushing rivers. In rare moments, as sunset paints the sky crimson, you sense something greater than yourself, a story being written, where you, however small, are a vital thread. Pause a second. If you're vibing with this tale, drop a comment. Where are you? New York, Texas, a quiet Idaho nook? What's the time there? I want to picture who's on this journey with me. If this hits you, tap that like button and subscribe. Now, dim the lights, let the screen guide you, and step deeper into this dusty, wondrous ancient world. Under the scorching noon sun on the outskirts of Raleigh, North Carolina, you stand by a creek, cool water slipping through trembling fingers. The clay jug, just filled, weighs heavy on your shoulder, but you don't pause to rest. Each drop is gold, the only barrier between your family and the thirst and dust of this parched land. Life here, in an ancient American community, offers no favors. It demands you fight, minute by minute, step by step, just to keep breathing. Back at the oak-timbered shack, you set the jug on the dirt floor, heavy breaths mingling with sparrow chirps from the Durham woods nearby. No faucet, no sink. Cleanliness is a ritual you invent. You take a dab of walnut oil from a small jar, rubbing it onto sunburned arms, feeling the caked dust loosen. A thin, polished copper scrap, traded at Wilmington's market, scrapes away sweat and grime. It's not bathing. It's a small battle to reclaim dignity from the blistering heat. Your clothes, a coarse cotton cloth, are tied with a willow cord. They don't hug your body but dangle, ready to betray you if a Delaware Bay gust sweeps through. Shoes are a distant dream. Your bare feet know the sting of gravel and thorns on the trail to Asheville's market. Each scratch tells a story. Each callus proves you're alive. You bind your hair with a grass strand, bracing for the next task, mind racing with what awaits, a world of dangers and demands. Lunch, if you can call it that, is a rushed moment. You perch on a log outside the shack, chewing a handful of roasted chestnuts from Virginia's forests. They're dry, sticking in your throat, but you don't complain. Food is luck enough. A sip from the clay jug, sometimes spiked with fermented fruit wine, helps you swallow. Don't dream of butter or honey. Those belong to Kentucky wheat field owners or Philadelphia's elite. If the day's kind, you might scavenge berries near Nashville, but usually it's just nuts and water, enough to keep you upright. Your family, if any remain, gathers around the dead fire's ashes. No table, no spoons, just hands sharing meager scraps. As a woman, you eat last, quietly collecting leftover grains, not by choice, but by the world's order. Men first, then children, then you. No one speaks. The sound of chewing blends with Alabama's breezes rustling the trees, a mournful survival song. You study the weary faces around you, wondering if tomorrow might ease the load. But this life isn't just hunger and toil. It's a ceaseless dance between hope and despair. Each day, you read the land's signs, black clouds signaling Missouri rain, a wolf's distant howl from the Smoky Mountains. You know when to plant corn, when to harvest, when to pray for a Gulf of Mexico breeze. These small rituals, exhausting as they are, tie you to the land, to ancestors, to yourself. They remind you that, however brutal the world, you have a role in its grand tale. Personal hygiene, if you can call it that, is another ordeal. No soap, no mirror. You might scrub teeth with crushed oak leaves, or rinse with salt water if Baltimore's market salt isn't too dear. Body odor is inevitable, but you mask it with pine resin from Tennessee woods. Clothes are rarely washed, beaten against Ohio River rocks, leaving rips and regrets. You don't aim for fragrance or beauty, just clean enough to avoid others' shunned glances. Every act, from fetching water to eating, reminds you, you don't live for yourself. You live for family, community, this land. In Raleigh, folks know your name, but also your skills. Grinding corn, weaving cloth, or storytelling by firelight. Privacy is a myth. Personal space, non-existent. The shack is where family sleeps, argues, dreams. Every moment is shared, from rare laughs to silent tears. As noon's glare softens, you gaze at distant fields where others plow under Mississippi's heat. Like you, they're writing this land's story, one hoe strike, one sweat drop at a time. You don't know if you'll survive next winter or if a Tampa Bay storm will sweep all away. But you know this. Today, you stand, hands calloused, heart beating. In that pulse hums an ancient song, echoing from forests, rivers, and souls gone before. This story's not done. If you're listening, tell me where you are. Chicago, Florida, a small Montana town. What's the time? Let me feel you're on this journey too. Hit like if this land springs to life before you and subscribe for the next chapter. Get ready. We're diving deeper into this world where each day's a triumph, each night a promise. A hot gust from Oklahoma's plains sweeps through, carrying the scent of parched earth and wild grass as you step from your shack in Raleigh, North Carolina. Bare feet meet the rugged trail, each step a reminder that this land never softens. In your hand, a small copper-headed axe, sharpened at Savannah's market, is primed for the work ahead. Life here, in an ancient American community, isn't just about enduring heat or hunger. It's a silent vow. You must labor, fight, and weave yourself into the harsh yet profound saga of this land. The path winds past Charlotte's barren wheat fields, where others hunch, hoeing earth. Sweat glints on their brows, unclaimed jewels. You don't stop to chat. Time's a luxury none afford. Today's task is chopping firewood at Virginia's forest edge, where ancient oaks loom, daring your strength. Each axe swing is a pulse, a quiet prayer that Pennsylvania's winter won't be too cruel, that this woodpile will warm the shack when snow falls. But labor isn't just muscle. It's a lesson in patience, in heeding the land's whispers. You know when an oak will yield, when Gulf of Mexico winds shift, when Maine's migratory birds signal seasons change. This wisdom comes not from books, but from long days watching, from fireside tales in Tennessee, from scars on your hands. It's the land's legacy, passed not in ink, but sweat and memory. Your clothes, a tattered linen cloth, cling to your sweat-soaked back. They shield neither Carolina's blazing sun nor forest thorns. A rare Appalachian breeze might cool, but it risks unraveling your garb, exposing you to passers-by's stares. No undergarments, no socks. If lucky, you wear worn leather sandals from Richmond's market, but usually you're barefoot, letting earth graze your soles. Each small wound is a badge, proof you belong. Between axe swings, you pause, wiping sweat with the back of your hand, gazing at the horizon. Far off, smoke rises from an Alabama forge, craftsmen shaping blades and spearheads. Life here isn't just work for survival, it's bracing for the inevitable. War. As a man in this community, you have no choice. Since your Delaware youth, you've trained with wooden staves, learning to stand shoulder to shoulder in formation. War isn't a possibility, it's in your blood. Enemies might be a neighboring Kentucky tribe vying for hunting grounds, or outsiders from Massachusetts shores wielding sharp weapons and ambition. Whoever they are, you must be ready. Armor, if you can afford it, is a heavy copper breastplate from Charleston Smith's, stifling and hot. Otherwise, it's a wooden shield and a homemade spear. Fighting is duty, but also a burden. You can't refuse. Can't say your heart leans toward quiet Mississippi River afternoons over blood and smoke. As the sun tilts, you bind the chopped wood into a bundle, hoist it onto your shoulder, and trudge back to Raleigh. The path is long, your feet ache, but your mind dwells on the family awaiting. They rely on you, not just for wood or food, but as a thread in this community's fabric. Here, no one lives alone. Each bundle, each sweat drop, pledges you won't quit, even if the heavens turn away. Women at home, weaving in Georgia, grinding corn in Arkansas, bear their own loads, their stories often eclipsed by axe clangs and war drums. When you set the wood before the shack, sunset stains the sky red over the Smoky Mountains. You sit, hands trembling, watching day's last rays shimmer on a Durham creek. In this moment, beyond exhaustion, you feel something deeper, a bond with the land, with those who stood here, felled trees, fought, dreamed. Like you, they knew life promised no ease, but offered meaning if you dared seek it. This story is yours, mine, ours. If you're listening, drop a comment. Where are you? Seattle, Arizona, a Vermont hamlet? What's the time? I want to know who's living this world with me. Hit like if you feel this ancient land's breath, and subscribe for the next chapter. Brace yourself. A new trial looms, with untold stories burning bright. Beneath the dusky veil of twilight, as the first stars twinkle over Raleigh, North Carolina, you sit by the firewood you chopped, your breath mingling with thin smoke from a freshly kindled hearth. Your calloused hands still tremble from axe swings, but your mind drifts to tales told by the Mississippi River, to dreams broken by harsh reality. Life here, in an ancient American community, isn't just labor or survival. It's a symphony of silent sacrifices, where women like Viola, if you're one of them, play a central, yet often overlooked role. You rise, stepping into the oak-walled shack, where a small fire's glow dances on rough timber. The light flickers across the walls, casting shadows as you move to an old wooden loom. Work doesn't end at sunset. While men rest from toiling Charlotte's fields or drilling near Richmond, you weave coarse flaxen threads, each pass of the shuttle a pulse of patience. This cloth, when done, will cloak your family or barter for seeds at Wilmington's market. Its worth isn't in coin, but in the sleepless nights, eyes blurred by smoke and fatigue, that you pour into it. A woman's life here is a chain of invisible tasks. Before dawn, you're up, grinding corn with an Arkansas stone, shaping meager breakfast flatbreads. You haul water from a Durham creek, shoulders aching from endless treks. You tend children, teaching them to spot Tennessee's poison plants, or sharing ancestral hunting tales from Oklahoma's plains. Each act ties family, community, and land together, yet your effort goes largely unseen. The shack offers no privacy. You sleep beside others, their snores blending with Chesapeake Bay breezes into a nightly dirge. Freedom is hemmed by duty's unseen walls. In Raleigh, women can't debate at Atlanta's councils, wield spears on Virginia hunts, or join men's strategy talks. Linger too long at Asheville's market, and whispers brand you with unwanted names. Your vital presence must be quiet. Marriage, if you've entered it, isn't a love story. It's a contract, arranged by father or brother, often with a man twice your age from Savannah or Baltimore. Love is a luxury. Dowries are mandatory. Your value lies in bearing sons, weaving strong cloth, staying silent. Childbirth is a gamble with death. No doctors, no medicine, just Kentucky midwives with experience and prayers, striving to keep you and the baby alive through agony. Yet, in rare, precious moments, you find freedom in small things. Weaving, you hum an ancient tune, its low melody filling the silent shack. Fetching water, you pause by the creek, watching moonlight ripple, dreaming of a world where your voice matters. These brief instants, though fleeting, are the embers keeping you aflame. They remind you that, despite the world's constraints, your soul soars over Appalachian peaks, through Alabama forests. You own no land, hold no council vote, but wield another power: endurance. Each cloth woven, meal prepared, story told is a stone in this community's foundation. Men may bear spears, but you keep the hearth's flame alive. On cold nights, when Gulf of Mexico winds howl, you know your story, though unetched in stone, lives in generations to come. As the fire dwindles, you pause weaving, set the loom aside, and gaze into the dark beyond. Far off, a wolf's howl echoes from the Smoky Mountains, a reminder of this world's dangers. But you're unafraid. You've learned to live with peril, to find light in shadow. Deep within, you feel a greater rhythm, the pulse of this land, of women who stood here, wove, nurtured, dreamed. Like you, they were Raleigh's soul keepers. This story isn't over. If you're listening, tell me where you are. Miami, Colorado, a quiet Oregon town? What's the time? I want to feel you in this journey. Hit like if these women's fire burns in your heart, and subscribe for the next chapter. Get ready. We're entering a world where every sacrifice matters, every dream worth fighting for. Distant drum beats echo through the oak groves on Raleigh's outskirts, North Carolina, a pulsing heartbeat rousing the land as twilight's haze settles. You pause weaving, hands stilling on the wooden loom, eyes drawn to the darkness where firelight flickers from the central square. It's the council's call, where weighty decisions shape the community's fate. But you, a woman, can only stand afar, catching the sounds carried by Chesapeake Bay breezes. In this ancient American world, power belongs to spear-wielding men from Virginia, while you, though the heart of your family, remain a silent silhouette behind the loom. Stepping from the shack, the cold earth chills your bare feet, each pebble a reminder of your place. The council, convened in a clearing near Atlanta, is where free men gather, debating war, hunting, or land division in Kentucky. To join that circle, one must be a Raleigh-born son, 18 summers old, carrying the blood of Tennessee forest hunters. Women, children, or outsiders from places like Massachusetts have no seat. Democracy, if you can call it that, is a fire warming only a few. Yet the council isn't a haven of peace. It's a verbal battlefield, words clashing like blades at Wilmington's market. Every man is legislator, warrior, orator. They shout, accuse, gesticulate, arguing whether to raid an Alabama tribe or fortify Arkansas cornfields. No professional politicians, no written laws. Decisions emerge from voices, nods, sometimes fists. You've heard of a Savannah man banished from the council for shouting over others, his voice too loud. This system, though raw, is progress. In lands like Oklahoma's plains, a single chief rules unchallenged. But in Raleigh, every free man can speak, proposing a Durham granary or more Ohio River patrols. They might even be randomly chosen for roles like managing stores or settling disputes. Yesterday, a Richmond blacksmith, illiterate, was picked to oversee hunt meat rations. Tomorrow, it could be a Delaware hunter who believes the Mississippi teems with spirits. But this democracy has shadows. Yearly, the council holds a strange rite called ostracism. Men scribble a name, someone too powerful, too famed, or just too irksome, on broken pottery shards from Asheville's market. If a name garners enough votes, rumored to be hundreds, that person is exiled from Raleigh for 10 moons, leaving with only sandals and pride. No trial, no explanation, just a cold farewell, like Smoky Mountain winter winds. This rite, you've heard, guards against would-be kings. But it's a double-edged blade. A Charleston hunter, who saved the village from beasts, was ostracized for inspiring envy. A Baltimore storyteller with a mesmerizing voice vanished after ruffling too many. Success here is treacherous. You must be liked, not luminous, strong, not threatening. Though barred, you feel the weight of these choices. When the council disbands, men return with news of looming war or lean harvests. In the shack, you weave, cook, keep the fire alive. Your mind, though, lingers on the square. You know, voiceless as you are, you're part of this story. Each cloth woven, each child raised, is a stone in Raleigh's foundation, even if your name's not carved upon it. As the drums fall silent, you return to the loom, fingers gliding over flax, heart still turned to the square. Far off, firelight glows, a promise that tomorrow, however harsh, is worth living. You hold no power, but you wield strength through endurance, quiet dreams, a soul that sings, despite the world hearing only whispers. In Raleigh's starlit dark, you know your untold story pulses with this land's heartbeat. This tale's not done. If you're listening, drop a comment. Where are you? Miami, Colorado, a small Oregon town? What's the time? I want you in this journey. Hit like if these silent voices stir your heart, and subscribe for the next chapter. Brace for a world where every choice cuts deep and untold stories blaze. Darkness cloaks Raleigh, North Carolina, with only the shack's flickering firelight twinkling like stray stars on earth. You sit by the loom, hands stilled, mind drifting with the night breeze carrying pine resin from Tennessee's forests. In this ancient American world, where each day battles hunger and heat, a harsher truth looms. Not all love as you do. Beneath Arkansas's cornfields, in Alabama's forges, even in the shack next door, are those who never taste freedom. They are the enslaved, chained souls, the unseen foundation of this community, spoken of only in hushed tones. You rise, stepping outside, moonlight from Chesapeake Bay silvering the trail to Wilmington's market. Whispers of them, those stripped of names, thread through Raleigh's shadows. They hail from no single land, bear no uniform face. Some were seized from Kentucky fields after a lost battle. Others were dragged from Massachusetts shores, hunted like prey. Some, born in chains, are children of mothers who dreamed of freedom on Oklahoma's plains. They are hunters, weavers, storytellers, but above all, property. In your shack lives one such soul, Lila, a name whispered only in darkness. She grinds corn while you sleep, hauls water from Durham's Creek while you rest, sweeps ashes you leave behind. Her hands are swift, but her eyes stay lowered, as if looking up is a sin. You didn't buy Lila. She was traded at Savannah's market, part of a debt your family owed a Richmond blacksmith. Yet that truth doesn't lighten the weight in your chest when you see her work silently, a ghost in your own home. Lila's life is an endless chain of tasks. She cooks, weaves, tends children, work you share, but with a stark difference. She can't stop. A complaint, a moment's slack, could bring a Charleston whip or worse, a sail to parts unknown, far from those she loves. You've seen scars on her back, forgotten roads, and wondered, what did she dream of before this world stole her hopes? In Raleigh, the enslaved aren't just laborers. They're the community's lifeblood. They build Virginia's field fences, forge Baltimore's blades, row Ohio river boats during hunts. Some, like Lila, learn to count or tell tales, becoming stewards or child teachers. But don't mistake this for freedom. Knowledge only raises their price. A clever slave in Atlanta might fetch double a Delaware hunter's value, yet their fate remains, owned, controlled, erased. Freedom comes rarely. Those freed live in shadow. An Asheville man, freed for saving his master from a beast, still faced suspicious glares, barred from owning land or joining councils. Lila, you know, doesn't dream of that. She longs for a day without waking in fear, a day to sing a Mississippi homeland song without punishment. But that dream, like moonlight, fades at dawn. You return to the loom, but Lila, curled on a thin mat in the shack's corner, haunts your thoughts. You wonder, in a different world, would she weave beside you, laughing like a sister? But this world isn't different. It's built on Lila's back, on her sweat and blood. Every cloth you wear, every meal you eat, bears her hand's trace. Deny it as you might, that truth clings like smoke from an unquenched fire. As dawn breaks, you gaze at distant fields where other enslaved toil under first light. Like Lila, they're absent from Atlanta Council's heroic tales. Yet they're Raleigh's pulse, this land's soul, though no stone bears their names. In that moment, you realize your story, Lila's, everyone's here, isn't about freedom or chains. It's about pressing on, though the world tries to break you. This saga isn't done. If you're tuned in, tell me where you are. San Francisco, Texas, a Maine nook? What's the time? I want you in this journey. Hit like if Lila's shadow moves you, and subscribe for the next chapter. Get ready. We're entering a world where scars tell tales, and each heartbeat defies. Dawn's first gold spills across Raleigh's fields, North Carolina, rousing you with the lingering ash scent from last night's fire. Lila, the silent woman in the shack's corner, rose long ago, her form faint as morning mist by Durham's Creek. In this ancient American world, where each day dances between life and death, health isn't a divine gift. It's a gamble, a fragile prayer amid sudden fevers and unhealing wounds. Watching Lila grind corn, her hands never pausing, you wonder, if sickness strikes, who'll save her? Or you? Stepping outside, the morning air carries a chill from the Smoky Mountains. No hospitals, no pills. When the body betrays, you rely on Raleigh's healers, part physician, part storyteller, part fate wagerer. They don't wear white coats, but coarse linen, hands clutching herb pouches from Tennessee's forests. You met one at Wilmington's market, an old woman with knife-sharp eyes, diagnosing by pulse and breath. She said illness isn't just blood or bone. It's imbalance, a body's song gone off-key. Healers here believe in 4 elements: blood, water, fire, earth. Each ties to a part of you: heart, lungs, liver, gut. Fever means too much fire, cooled with Virginia mint water. Fatigue suggests heavy earth, purged with Arkansas roots. Their diagnoses skip tools for questions. What did you dream? What did you eat? Which wind blew when your cough began? Every detail is a clue, every remedy a ritual. You saw that Wilmington woman burn oak leaves, their fragrant smoke filling the air to banish a child's spirit sickness. But healing isn't always gentle. An infected wound might face a Charleston copper blade, slicing away rot without anesthesia. Pain is part of it, like earth cracking for a seed to sprout. You heard of a Savannah hunter, leg broken in a Kentucky chase, whose healer sawed bone while he bit a leather strap to stifle screams. He lived, but never walked the same. Surgery, though rare, is a razor's edge between life and death. Not all cross it. Childbirth is another tale, a battle women like you or Lila face alone. No delivery rooms, just a shack corner with Richmond midwives armed with experience and prayers. Each birth, defies death. You heard of an Atlanta woman bleeding out post-delivery, her final moments soothed only by songs. Newborns are frail, easily swept away by fever or tainted Ohio River water. Every surviving child is a miracle, every loss a scar on a mother's heart. If lucky, a Baltimore healer might bring linen bandages and walnut oil. But if poor, like most in Raleigh, you lean on folk cures, crushed oak leaves for cuts, Oklahoma honey for burns, garlic pressed to chests against coughs. These remedies, sometimes effective, sometimes futile, are your only shield. When they fail, you turn to faith, praying to earth's spirits, to unseen gods of the Appalachians, hoping they hear. Lila, you know, can't pray as you do. If she falls ill, no herbs come. She'll work till she collapses, her health no priority. You've seen her cough, hiding it, fearing a day's rest could bring a whip or worse. This injustice clings like morning's chill, making you question, why does this world divide even the right to heal? As the sun climbs, you resume tasks, weaving, baking cornbread, but your mind lingers on healers, Lila, yourself. Health here isn't owned. It's a fragile gift, brittle as dawn's light. In that moment, you realize, every day you live, every heartbeat, declares you're still here, still fighting, though the heavens try to drag you down. This saga presses on. If you're tuned in, tell me where you are. San Francisco, Texas, a Maine hideaway? What's the time? I want you in this journey. Hit like if Lila's unseen labor stirs you, and subscribe for the next chapter. Brace for a world where wounds weave tales, and each pulse challenges fate. Noon's sunlight filters through ancient oaks, casting dappled patches on the trail from your Raleigh, North Carolina shack, leading to where the community's heart beats vibrantly. From afar, lyre strings hum, mingling with laughter and stomping feet, as if the earth itself sings. Lila, the quiet woman by the corn-grinding stone in the shack, pauses briefly, her eyes yearning to chase the melody, but she bows back to her task. In this ancient American world, weighed by hunger, disease, and chains, there's a moment when the land pulses alive, the stage, where stories breathe and broken dreams still find voice. You quicken your pace, bare feet accustomed to the trail's gravel, heading to the square near Atlanta. Today's a festival, a rare pause when Raleigh halts labor to gather. Hunters from Virginia, weavers from Arkansas, children from Oklahoma's plains crowd red dirt tiers, no chairs, no divides. You claim a spot amid the throng, feeling neighbors' warmth, the fire's smoke blending with dry grass's scent. Lila, like other enslaved, is barred. Yet you know, somewhere, she's listening, catching melodies on Chesapeake Bay breezes, like freedom's whispers. Raleigh's stage isn't just for tales. It's the land's heartbeat. Performances start at sunrise, stretching till stars emerge, from tragedies that wrench your heart to comedies that ache your sides. You've heard of Savannah festivals where crowds sat 3 days, weeping for losses, laughing at sharp jests. Here, it's the same. The audience doesn't sit still. They roar, clap, toss chestnuts when actors thrill, or whistle when tales stray. A Wilmington blacksmith was once dragged out for hurling too hard. But that's Raleigh. Raw, honest. emotions bare, tragedies cut like knives. They tell of a Kentucky hunter sacrificed for the village, forgotten, of a Mississippi mother cradling earth after fever stole her child. You sit, breath heavy, as if the story guts you. Then comedies, like Appalachian breezes, sweep sorrow away. Actors dance, donning carved wooden bird masks, mocking Richmond's boastful storyteller or Atlanta Council's empty vows. Laughter crashes like waves, letting you forget heat and hunger, if only briefly. The stage's players are Raleigh's soul, not professionals, but chosen from Charleston or Baltimore families, trained young to sing, narrate, transform. Their oversized, grotesque masks amplify smiles, tears, visible even to Asheville's market-goers. Some men play women, gliding softly, voices soaring, making you forget their gender. A chorus behind, like ancestral voices, sings sharp odes, praising, mocking, as if the land itself speaks through them. The stage isn't mere entertainment. It's Raleigh's mirror, reflecting questions no one dares voice beyond firelight. Is a Tennessee hunter truly brave, or just vain? Does Atlanta's council lead or squabble for power? Plays force you to face yourself, your community, the scars you all bear. As the festival ends, Savannah elders pick the best play, not for skill, but for stirring the community's heart. You heard a Delaware comedy about a talking wolf won once, sparking village debates for days. As noon's heat fades, you leave the square, step slow on the trail. Melodies linger, but your thoughts return to Lila. She couldn't sit under firelight, laugh with the crowd. Yet you believe, in the shack's dark, she hears the stage's pulse through songs she hums in secret. The stage, you realize, is where Raleigh rediscovers itself. It turns pain into poetry, hope into light. Though Lila can't touch that light, her story, and yours, is part of this grand drama. Back at the shack, you see Lila prepping cornbread in dim sunlight. She's silent, but you sense a quiet song within her, awaiting its moment. Raleigh, with its injustices and beauty, is a stage never curtained. And you, a mere spectator, know each step, each breath, is a line in its script. This tale's still unfolding. If you're listening, share a moment. Where are you? New Orleans, Montana, a peaceful Maine corner? I want to picture you in this play. Hit like if Raleigh's stage quickens your pulse, and subscribe for the next act. Get ready. A world where every tale is a breeze, every dream a flame, awaits. Under the blazing sunset, as clouds drift slowly across Raleigh, North Carolina's sky, you stand by Durham's Creek, barefoot in the cool, clear water. From afar, the songs of Atlanta's square echo faintly, but Lila, the quiet woman in her humble shack, is forbidden to hear them. In this ancient world, where each day pulses with labor and hope, there are those who seek neither power nor victory, but something deeper: truth. Amos, a wanderer with eyes sharp as knives in Wilmington's market, is one of them, and his voice, though soft, is shaking the heart of Raleigh. You wipe your hands on your linen cloth, step from the creek, and walk toward Asheville's market, where Amos often appears. He's not like the hunters of Virginia, carrying no axe like those from Kentucky, nor weaving cloth like you. He simply walks, observes, and asks questions. You've seen him stand amid the crowd in Savannah's market, his tattered linen shirt swaying, his voice low like wind through the Smoky Mountains. What is happiness? If we live to survive, what makes us different from stone? No one answers. Some scoff, some walk away, but his question clings to them like shadows trailing firelight. Amos calls it the journey to find light, a way of life few in Raleigh dare to follow. He writes no notes, carves no words in stone. His words spread through whispered stories, from a blacksmith in Richmond to a midwife in Charleston. You've heard he once asked an Atlanta council leader, "If your power is meant to protect, why does it weigh so heavily on us?" The man bristled, but couldn't reply. The crowd fell silent, and Amos, with a faint smile, walked away, as if planting a seed no one saw. His questions don't stop at councils. They echo by the Ohio River under Oklahoma's plains trees or in the heart of Baltimore's market. You saw him in Tennessee, facing a proud hunter. Where does your courage come from, your heart or the eyes of others? The hunter stood mute, and that night the village argued over Amos's words. He seeks no victory. He seeks truth, and truth here is a wave, washing away what people hold certain. But Amos's journey is no easy path. In Raleigh, questions are sharp blades, cutting into beliefs, into the order the community built. You've heard he was driven from an Atlanta meeting, branded a troublemaker. Some in Savannah wanted him banished, writing his name on broken pottery as they do with threats to peace. Yet Amos remains, like a wind that cannot be caught. He craves neither power nor fame. He wants Raleigh to face itself, no matter how painful. You think of Lila, of the questions she's never allowed to ask. If Amos stood before her, what would he say? What keeps you rising each day, despite the chain's weight? Or, what dream do you hide in the darkness? You know Lila wouldn't answer, not because she lacks one, but because this world stole her voice. Yet in her eyes, you see questions greater than Amos's, questions of freedom, of dignity, of a day she could sing without fear. Those questions, like the sunset, ignite your heart, making you wonder, what do you live for? Returning to the shack, you see Lila still working, her shadow stretching long under the fire's faint glow. Amos, you know, doesn't ask for himself alone. He asks for Lila, for you, for Virginia's hunters and Arkansas's weavers. His questions are a flame, not to warm, but to illuminate Raleigh's darkest corners. And though answers may never come, they remind you that in every heartbeat, a truth waits to be found. You sit at the loom, fingers gliding over linen threads, but your mind drifts to Amos, to Lila, to yourself. Raleigh, with its vibrant stages and invisible chains, is an unanswered question. But you, though small, are part of the answer. Each thread you weave, each step you take, is a declaration. You are here, you are seeking light, and you will not stop. A cold breeze blows from Chesapeake Bay, carrying whispers of Amos, of Lila, of this land. If you're listening, share a moment. What keeps you searching, despite the darkness's threat. I want to feel that breeze from you. Hit the like button if you see Amos's light in this story, and subscribe to join me on this journey. Raleigh awaits, a world where each question is a wave, and each truth is a mountain calling us forward. When the first dewdrops cling to oak leaves, shimmering under Raleigh, North Carolina's faint moonlight, you sit by your loom, fingers gliding slowly over linen threads, but your mind lingers on Amos's question from Wilmington's market. Lila, the silent woman in the shack's corner, stokes the fire, her shadow like an unsung ballad. In this ancient world, where each day pulses with labor and hope, there exists a ritual harsher than war or disease: banishment. An invisible blade, wielded by the community itself, poised to sever those who shine too brightly, and you, though merely a weaver, cannot escape its weight. You rise, stepping outside, the night air carrying a chill from Chesapeake Bay, wrapping around you like a warning. In Raleigh, banishment isn't a whisper in the dark. It's a public rite, held yearly at the square near Atlanta, where free men gather under a great fire. You've heard of it through tales by Durham's Creek, of people erased from the community for being too prominent, too powerful, or simply too different. Amos, with his questions sharp as knives, stands on that perilous edge. The ritual begins on a chosen day, when the sun stands high and the wind falls still, as if earth and sky hold their breath. Men, from Virginia's hunters to Richmond's blacksmiths, bring broken pottery shards from Asheville's market. On each shard, they carve a name, not an enemy, not a criminal, but someone deemed a threat. You once saw such a shard, abandoned by the Ohio River, its faded name belonging to one forgotten. If a name appears too often, hundreds of shards, they say, that person is banished, forced to leave Raleigh for 10 moons, carrying nothing but sandals and pride. Banishment isn't punishment for crimes. It's Raleigh's way of protecting itself, or so Atlanta's council claims. They fear those who might become kings, who could shake the community's fragile order. But this blade doesn't discriminate. You've heard of a savannah hunter who led his village through famine, only to be banished for inspiring envy. A Baltimore storyteller, with a mesmerizing voice, was erased for unsettling too many. Success here is a thorny road, and Amos, whose questions make councils tremble, treads it. You think of Lila, of what this ritual could do to her. As a slave, she has no right to carve a name, no voice in the square. But if she dared to shine, a song, a brave act, would she be punished, even without a shard? You know the answer. This world needs no ritual to cast out someone like Lila. Chains do that, day after day in the shack's shadows. And Amos, though free, isn't safe. His questions, about justice, about power, are fire. And fire, though beautiful, draws those who'd snuff it out. The banishment ritual, you realize, isn't just about casting one person away. It's a mirror reflecting Raleigh, its fears, its jealousies, its scars. A Charleston midwife once said banishment keeps peace, but that peace is fragile as morning frost. When someone leaves, they take not just their name, but a piece of Raleigh. Their property remains untouched, their citizenship preserved, but 10 moons is long enough for everything to change. You wonder, if Amos were banished, would he return? Or would Raleigh lose the light he carries? Returning to the shack, you see Lila preparing cornbread, her hands never idle, as if labor is her only way to endure. You think of Amos, of the shards that might bear his name, of Lila, of yourself. In Raleigh, everyone lives under the banishment blade's shadow, whether they know it or not. You, with your loom and long days of toil, may never be named, but you feel its weight. The weight of a world where difference is dangerous, where truth is a lonely path. Sitting by the fire, you watch its flickering light, as if it tells a story. Raleigh, with its councils, stages, and chains, is a place of contradictions. Its home, yet a cage. Its community, yet a battlefield. And you, though just a weaver, are part of it all. Each linen thread you pull, each meal you prepare, is a declaration. You won't let that blade cut you down. Lila, Amos, and you are Raleigh's heartbeat, no matter who the world tries to cast out. Moonlight streams through a crack, illuminating Lila's face. You say nothing, but in that moment, you sense a truth greater than Amos's words. Raleigh endures, not because of banishment, but because people like you, like Lila, like Amos, rise each day, carrying their dreams, however small. And those dreams, like moonlight, will never be extinguished. Let this fire burn on in you. If you're watching, share a dream. What makes you rise each day, despite the world's harshness? I want to feel that moonlight from you. Hit the like button if you feel the banishment blade in this story, and subscribe to walk with me further. Raleigh awaits. A world where each breath is a defiance, and each dream an undying flame. The chirping of crickets weaves into the darkness, like a wordless melody enveloping the oak shack in Raleigh, North Carolina, as you sit by the dying fire, your gaze drifting to Lila, curled on a thin mat. Moonlight from Chesapeake Bay slips through a crack, illuminating broken pottery shards, remnants of the banishment ritual you found by Durham's Creek. In this ancient world, where each day beats with labor, sacrifice, and Amos's questions, death is no stranger. It's a silent companion, ever lurking, ready to knock for you, Lila, or even Amos, in an unexpected moment. You rise, stepping out of the shack, the night's chill seeping through your worn linen shirt, as if reminding you of life's fragility. In Raleigh, lifespan is a gamble. They say surviving 30 springs is a triumph, but many aren't so fortunate. You've seen children in Oklahoma's plains, frail from birth, swept away by fever before they could run. Mothers in Savannah, bleeding out after childbirth, leaving wordless cries behind. And Virginia's hunters, though strong, might fall to a small infected cut from Wilmington's market. Death here doesn't choose. It comes from the smallest things. A sip of murky water from the Ohio River, a cold gust from the Smoky Mountains, or a mispicked berry in Tennessee's woods. You've heard of a Richmond blacksmith, sturdy as an oak, felled by a scratch from a copper blade, fever claiming him in days. No medicine, no miracles. Only Charleston's midwives, with herbs and prayers, try to hold back slipping souls. But often, the heavens don't listen. War is another blade. As a man in Raleigh, you know each hunt might be your last. Clashes with neighboring tribes in Kentucky or raiders from Massachusetts coast always leave blood and scars. You saw a young Atlanta hunter, pierced by a spear, crawling toward his village but collapsing midway. Such wounds, even if not instantly fatal, often become death sentences. Without antiseptics, only honey from Oklahoma's plains or crushed oak leaves, rarely enough, stand in defense. A survivor, if lucky, carries scars and endless nightmares. Childbirth, as you've seen through women like Lila, is a cruel wager. Each delivery is a dance with darkness. You recall a Baltimore woman giving birth under moonlight, neither she nor her child surviving dawn. Raleigh's midwives, skilled as they are, rely on experience and ancient songs to soothe pain. But when blood flows too freely, or a baby doesn't breathe, they can only hold the mother, letting her weep under the stars. Each child who lives is a miracle, but each loss is a wound that never heals. Disease, like an invisible storm, can sweep entire villages. You've heard of an Asheville winter when fever took dozens. Shacks became tombs, fires too weak to warm. No one knew why. Was it well water or winds from the Gulf of Mexico? Raleigh's healers, with herbs and rituals, tried, but they're no gods. You saw a Tennessee man, coughing blood, burned with oak leaf smoke to banish sick spirits. Yet he faded, leaving a wordless void. And then there are deaths not of the body, but of the earth and sky. Offending a spirit in the Appalachians, forgetting a ritual in Oklahoma's plains, or straying into forbidden land near Savannah, all can bring calamity. You heard of a Richmond hunter who mocked a sacred ancient tree, then fell to an unexplained fever. Some call it a curse, but in Raleigh, curses and disease are two sides of the same coin. No one knows for certain, and that uncertainty is the greatest fear. Burial rites are how Raleigh faces death. If a family has means, they place a carved stone for the departed, or light a great fire to send the soul to ancestors. But many, like Lila might be, get no such honor. A slave's death often means a hasty burial outside the village. No ceremony, no trace. You wonder, if Lila passed, would anyone remember her name? Or would she vanish, like morning dew, leaving only the broken shards you gathered? Her death, like her life, would be a whisper no one hears. Returning to the shack, you sit by Lila, watching her prepare cornbread under moonlight. Amos, with his questions of truth, may face banishment, but death is a sentence none escape. You, Lila, Amos, all live under its shadow. Yet in that darkness, you see a light. Each day you live, each linen thread you weave, is a defiance of death. Raleigh, with its scars and dreams, is a song of life, though death always looms. And you, though small, are a note in that song. The shack's fire flickers as if telling a story. You look at Lila, then up at the moonlight, feeling your heartbeat merge with earth and sky. Raleigh promises no immortality, but it grants meaning, the meaning of rising, though tomorrow may not come. Lila, Amos, and you are the keepers of this song's rhythm, no matter who the world tries to erase. The moonlight endures, and Raleigh breathes on. If you're watching, send me a heartbeat. What keeps you going, though darkness surrounds? I want to hear your song. Hit the like button if you feel death's quiet presence in this story, and subscribe to Sing On with me. Raleigh awaits. A world where each breath is a note, and each dream an endless song. A cold wind sweeps through Raleigh's cornfields, carrying the scent of smoke from distant fires. You stand before the oak shack, hands tightly gripping your worn loom. Lila, silently kneading dough, her shadow faint under the fire's dim glow. Amos's questions echo, banishment's broken shards haunt, and death, a specter, lurks. But in this world of labor and loss, faith, greater than death, blazes, guiding Raleigh through darkness, from Durham's creek prayers to Chesapeake's moonlit rituals. You step outside, barefoot on damp earth, feeling the land's pulse, not just yours, Lila's, or Amos's, but of spirits revered. Faith here is breath, blood, binding people to earth and sky. You've seen Virginia hunters pray to forest spirits. Arkansas weavers offer linen to fire, hoping for blessed crops. Lila, chained, sings Oklahoma hymns, calling ancestors. Faith isn't gentle. Earth's spirits, wind, fire, water, soil, demand reverence. A Savannah midwife spoke of a Richmond blacksmith, lost to the Ohio River for neglecting offerings. Punishment and calamity blur, like smoke and flame. One misstep can unleash divine wrath. Daily, you weave rituals into life. Before grinding corn, you scatter meal, thanking harvest spirits. Drawing Durham's water, you pray for purity. These threads tie you to the land, to Tennessee hunters, Baltimore storytellers. Neglect risks heaven's scorn. A failed Kentucky harvest, a Gulf storm, or Smoky Mountain beasts. Full moon festivals ignite Raleigh's faith. In Asheville, under a great fire, Atlanta's leaders sang, offering wine and meat. Drums thundered, crowd danced, your heartbeat joined, part of fields, rivers, spirits past. Faith burdens. Lila, a slave, barred from square offerings, secretly prays in Mississippi whispers, her fire unquenched. Amos's questions might defy spirits. Charleston whispers banishment, fearing divine anger. Faith faces death, banishment, toil. You light fires for departed souls, kneel for failed crops, question banishment's blade. Amos's queries, unanswered, urge you forward. Returning, Lila's firelight sings silently. You think of Amos, spirits, yourself. Raleigh's rituals, chains, dreams, a fire undying. You, Lila, Amos, sparks, unextinguished. Each thread, prayer, claims, you are this land's. The fire flickers, storytelling. You see Lila, moonlight. Raleigh offers no eternity, only a song of rising. You, a weaver, a note, echoing fields, rivers, spirits. Let this song ring. Share a whisper. What makes you believe, despite darkness? I'll hear your heartbeat. Like if Raleigh's fire burns, subscribe to Sing On. Raleigh awaits, each ritual a song, each dream an undying flame. Under the fading dawn, as mist cloaks Raleigh's fields in North Carolina, you stand by Durham's Creek, clutching a clay jug of water, your shoulders aching from endless days of labor. Lila, in the oak shack, stokes the fire, its flickering light a reminder of this land's fierce yet harsh faith. Amos's questions still echo. The banishment ritual's broken pottery shards linger, and death remains a lurking specter. But in this ancient world, where each breath is a defiance, a greater question looms. Can you survive here? Not just for a day, but through seasons of moons, storms, trials, and dreams choked silent. You set the jug down, wiping sweat from your brow, gazing toward the horizon where the first sunlight pierces the smoky mountains. Life in Raleigh spares no weakness. Each morning, you wake to blistering heat or bone-cutting cold, the shack without glass, only thin planks warding off Chesapeake Bay's winds. You once dreamed of a world with running water, hearty breakfasts, but reality is dusty earth, dry cornbread, and ceaseless treks for water. You wonder, are you strong enough to endure when every day is a battle? Labor is Raleigh's heartbeat. You weave cloth, grind corn, chop wood from Tennessee's forests, each act a claim that you belong. But labor isn't just sweat, it's patience, reading the sky's signs, black clouds from Kentucky heralding storms, wolves' howls from Virginia warning danger. People like Lila, though chained, work without pause, never allowed rest. You watch her, hands deftly kneading dough, and feel a silent pain. She toils to exist, but never to live. Disease is an unseen foe. A cough, a cut, or a sip of murky Ohio River water can drag you under. You've seen Wilmington market healers, with herbs and rituals, striving to hold back fading souls. But they're no gods. Lila, you know, would get no care if illness struck. She'd work until she fell, for in Raleigh, a slave's health isn't prized. You wonder, if you fell ill, would anyone bring crushed oak leaves or Oklahoma plains honey? Or would you vanish like morning mist? War is another threat. Clashes with Atlanta's neighboring tribes or Massachusetts coast raiders ever loom. As a man, you'd grip a spear, stand in formation, though your heart yearns for quiet Arkansas field afternoons. As a woman, you don't fight, but you bear the cost. Loved ones lost, crops ravaged. You think of Amos, who might face banishment for his questions, but war needs no ritual to erase a name. A spear, a wound, and all is over. Faith, though a guiding fire, is also a burden. You pray by the creek, offer at Asheville's market, but the heavens don't always hear. A wrong ritual, a stray word, could unleash wrath from the Appalachians. Lila, secretly tracing prayer circles in the dirt, is barred from Savannah's great festivals. You wonder, is faith enough to keep you upright when the heavens might turn away? Or is it just a song, beautiful but fragile, in Raleigh's darkness? Community is strength, yet also a cage. In Raleigh, no one lives alone. You share fire with Lila, stories with Amos, sweat with Richmond's hunters. But this community wields blades, banishment rituals, inequality, Baltimore market whispers. You're part of it, yet shaped by it. As a woman, you have no voice in Atlanta's council. As a free person, you still live under the shadow of broken shards. And Lila, though the shack's heartbeat, is never called family. You return to the shack, sitting by Lila, watching the flickering fire. Life in Raleigh tests not just body, but soul. You might survive heat, hunger, disease, and war, but can you hold your dreams? Lila, eyes downcast, is a reminder. Survival isn't enough. You must find meaning, like Amos seeks truth, like ancient songs at festivals. Raleigh, for all its harshness, is a song of resilience, and you, though small, are a note within it. Dawn brightens, scattering mist. You look at Lila, then to the fields where others begin their day. Raleigh promises no ease, but grants a strength, the power to rise, though the heavens try to break you. You, Lila, Amos, all are this land's pulse, despite death, banishment, or chains erasing names. Each linen thread you weave, each step you take, is a vow. You're here, and you'll never stop singing. The shack's fire flares like a summons. Raleigh is an unfinished song, and you're part of it. If you're watching, send me a note. What keeps you walking, though the path is thorned? I want to feel your song. Hit, like if you hear Raleigh's pulse, and subscribe to Sing On With Me. Raleigh beckons. A world where each trial is a melody, each dream an endless flame. Dewdrops gleam on corn leaves, catching the dawn's first light like tiny jewels, as you stride through Raleigh's fields in North Carolina, clutching a sharpened copper axe from the local market. Lila, in the oak shack, weaves linen, her hands moving rhythmically like a silent song, though chains still weigh her down. Amos's questions about truth, the banishment ritual, death's quiet shadow, and faith's harsh fire echo in your mind. But in this ancient world, where each breath is a choice, another story looms, greater than Raleigh, the tale of Mara, a rebellious flame blazing from Virginia's plains, who made an empire tremble. You sit beneath an old oak, the axe's blade grazing the earth, letting your mind drift to whispers from Asheville's market. Mara wasn't a weaver like you, a slave like Lila, nor a questioner like Amos. She was a leader, a mother, a warrior, born to a Richmond tribe where earth and humanity intertwined. Her people, once free to hunt Kentucky's fields, bowed to a mighty empire from Massachusetts' coast, a force of bronze armor, sharp spears, and ravenous ambition. Mara, steadfast, kept peace for years, bridging her tribe and empire, hoping to shield her people. But that peace shattered like mist under sunlight. When Mara's father died, leaving a wish to share power with the empire, they scorned it. Soldiers from Boston stormed in, seizing Savannah's lands, razing Arkansas's cornfields, and claiming all that was the tribe's. But the worst wasn't the theft of land. They dragged Mara to Richmond Square before her tribe and lashed her with leather whips. Her young daughter was humiliated before her mother's eyes. It wasn't just shame. It was a declaration of war, an attempt to break a nation's spirit. They were wrong. Mara didn't fall. She rose, bloodied, her eyes burning like flames in the Smoky Mountains. Your heart races thinking of Mara. She didn't choose silence. From Virginia's fields, she launched her vengeance. You heard she rode through Tennessee's forests, hair streaming, her voice like thunder rallying tribes. She spoke not of wounds, but of loss, a warrior mother with nothing left to fear. Her pain reminded them of stolen fields, slain children, crushed dreams. Tribes from Baltimore, Oklahoma's plains, and Atlanta's oppressed listened. They saw her suffering as theirs, her rage their fire. She had no army like the Empire, no Charleston armor, no book-bound strategies. But she had unity beyond their grasp. On a Kentucky hill, spear in hand, Mara named the fallen, invoked Chesapeake's spirits. Farmers became warriors, hunters assassins. Savannah's escaped slaves joined her ranks. They fought for memory, freedom, their own songs right. Her rebellion ignited like flint. She led a raid on a small Richmond town where Empire stone houses burned in her wake. Boston soldiers, caught, were swept away by fury. Mara, astride amid smoke, witnessed justice for her daughter, her tribe, stolen land. Word spread. Mara's name whispered in Baltimore, sung in Arkansas. The Empire trembled. Massachusetts leaders weighed retreat. One woman made them bleed, proving the oppressed rise. But her victories cut both ways. Her army grows, but food is scarce. Oklahoma's fighters lack discipline. The wounded empire never yields easily. Does Mara think of death, banishment, Lila's shackles? Or only freedom's fire, unyielding? Returning, you see Lila weaving, firelight dancing. Mara, Amos, Lila, beats of Raleigh's song. You, a weaver, are part. Each thread, day lived, vows, you won't fall, despite heaven's cruelty. Mara's flame, like dawn, won't fade. The fire flares, promising. Raleigh's story unwritten, you're its ink. Send a spark, what makes you rise, despite grief. I'll see your fire. Like for Mara's roar, subscribe to burn on. Raleigh awaits, every battle a pulse, every soul a song. Noon's blazing sunlight pours like fire, scorching Raleigh's cornfields in North Carolina as you sit under an oak's shade, breath heavy from axe swings felling Tennessee wood. Lila, in the oak shack, grinds corn, the stone's steady grind echoing like this land's heartbeat. Mara's tale, the woman who kindled rebellion's flame in Virginia's plains, burns in your mind, alongside Amos's sharp questions and the banishment ritual's looming specter. But in this ancient world, where each day pulses with sacrifice and hope, Mara's journey doesn't end in one victory. It's a storm, sweeping Raleigh, Lila, and you into a saga of vengeance, unity, and freedom's cost. You wipe sweat, set the axe down, and gaze where distant fire smoke rises, a reminder of Mara's battles. After torching Richmond's town, she didn't rest. Asheville market traders say she led her army, Baltimore warriors, Savannah fugitives, Oklahoma plains hunters, to Charleston, a greater empire stronghold. That city, with stone houses and grain stores, was the heart of occupation, where Boston soldiers boasted their might. But Mara, eyes ablaze, saw no invincibility. She saw a target. Charleston had no walls, no heavy defenses. The empire, smug in its power, never dreamed a Richmond woman could threaten them. You picture Mara, astride her horse, spear raised, leading her army like a raging wave from Chesapeake Bay. Charleston's stone-paved streets, once ringing with occupiers' laughter, ran red with blood. Houses burned, grain stores blazed, and empire symbols crumbled under fire. You've heard Mara didn't plunder. She sought no gold, no land. She sought justice. Justice for her daughter, her tribe, for those like Lila, chained in shadow. Mara's wrath wasn't senseless violence. Through Wilmington market tales, you feel each spear thrust, each flame, was a declaration. The empire isn't invincible. Massachusetts soldiers, once arrogant, fled, carrying unfamiliar fear. You imagine Mara, riding through smoke, her daughter beside her, a reminder this wasn't just war. It was a song of life, dignity, dreams unbroken. Raleigh's people, though uninvolved, whisper of her, as if she's this land's spirit, sent by Smoky Mountain's heavens. But Mara's victories, you know, aren't eternal. Her army, though fierce, lacks order. Kentucky fighters bring hatred, but no strategy. Food is scarce, and daily they face hunger, as you and Lila have in the shack. The empire, though wounded, doesn't fall easily. You've heard a Boston leader, after Charleston's fall, rallied troops from Atlanta to Richmond, preparing a counterstrike. Mara, with all her fire, stands at a crossroads. Fight on, or seek another path. You think of Lila, her chains never lifting. Mara fights for freedom, but will it reach Lila? You watch her, hands grinding corn, and wonder, if Mara triumphs, will Lila sing her song or remain a specter in this shack? Amos, with his justice queries, might ask Mara, what is your freedom when those like Lila stay caged? You don't know the answer, but the question, like Oklahoma plains wind, stirs your heart, revealing, Mara's war isn't hers alone. It's for all Raleigh's people, weavers, the chained, truth seekers. Returning to the shack, you sit by Lila, the flickering fire lighting her face. You think of Mara, Amos, yourself. Raleigh, with its cornfields, banishment rites, and silent songs, is part of a greater tale, a tale of those who rise, though heavens try to break them. Mara lit a fire, and that fire, like noon's sun, touches all, from Virginia hunters to Arkansas weavers. You, though just a woodcutter, are a spark in that blaze, carrying your small dream. The shack's fire flares, a reminder. Raleigh isn't just dust and toil. It's a song of resilience, of Mara, Lila, Amos, and you, who fight on, though death, chains, or banishment threaten. Each axe swing, each linen thread Lila weaves, is a beat in that song, echoing through rivers, fields, and spirits past. Mara, with her fire, showed you, however harsh the world, you can rise, you can sing. Noon's heat softens, and you rise, axe in hand, ready for the next task. Raleigh is a story unwritten, and you're its ink. If you're watching, send me a pulse. What makes you fight, though darkness looms? I want to feel your strength. Hit, like if Mara's fire burns in this tale, and subscribe to press on with me. Raleigh lives, a world where each trial is a beat, each dream an endless flame. Dusk's golden shadows stretch across Raleigh's cornfields in North Carolina, gilding dry grass as you sit by Durham's Creek, fingers brushing a clay jug still damp with water. Lila, In the oak shack, kneads cornbread dough, the stone pestle's steady rhythm a mournful song, mingling with her gaze, a dream stifled by chains. Amos's piercing questions, the haunting banishment ritual, and Mara's rebellious fire from Virginia's plains still blaze in your mind. But in this ancient world, where each day pulses with sacrifice and resilience, Mara's journey didn't end in Charleston. It surged to a fierce climax, a fateful battle, and an end that etched itself forever into Raleigh's heart. You rise, setting the jug down, and gaze toward the horizon, where dark clouds gather from the Smoky Mountains, like a prophecy of the coming storm. News of Mara spread swiftly through Asheville market traders, like wind from Chesapeake Bay. After torching Charleston, she led her army, Baltimore warriors, Savannah fugitives, Kentucky hunters, to Atlanta, a final, fortified stronghold. This was no mere town. It was the empire's emblem from Massachusetts, with towering stone houses and arsenals brimming with bronze spears, a challenge to any who dared resist. You picture Mara on a hill near Atlanta, long hair streaming, spear raised, her eyes no longer a grieving mother's, but a tempest's, unstoppable. Her army, tens of thousands strong, wasn't trained soldiers. They were farmers, hunters, oppressed souls, fueled by hatred and dreams of freedom. You've heard she sang a Richmond hymn, calling Earth's spirits to witness, as if the land itself fought with her. Raleigh's people, though distant, felt that pulse, as if Mara was their breath, their fire. But the Empire wasn't naive. Their leader, a seasoned man from Boston, was ready. You've heard he chose a narrow valley near Atlanta, hemmed by dense woods, neutralizing Mara's numbers. His army, though smaller, was forged in discipline, clad in Charleston bronze armor, spears sharp as knives. You envision them, shields locked, a steel wall unyielding. Mara, with all her fire, knew this wasn't just a battle. It was the moment deciding her fate, her tribes, and those like Lila. The battle dawned at sunrise. Through Wilmington market tales, you feel Mara's army crashing down like a wave, roaring, spears high, carrying years of oppression's wrath. But the Empire's steel wall held firm. Spears flew, shields clashed, and blood stained the valley red. You imagine Mara, astride her horse on the edge of life and death, her daughter beside her, shouting final words, "We will not kneel." But fate, like Raleigh's heavens, doesn't always favor justice. Mara's army, though vast, lacked discipline. They crowded the narrow valley, unable to retreat. The Empire, with ruthless precision, advanced relentlessly. You've heard Oklahoma farmers fell, Tennessee hunters were swept away, and blood ran like rivers. Mara, for all her strength, couldn't shift fate. The battle ended in dust and smoke, thousands fallen, and Mara's radiant fire, though brilliant, flickered out. The Empire stood, but bore a scar that would never heal. Mara's fate, you've heard, is a mystery. Some in Savannah say she took poison, choosing death over capture. Others in Baltimore believe she sickened, slipping away in shadow. But no one saw her chained, paraded through Boston's streets. You envision her vanishing, like a gust, leaving a song echoing through fields, rivers, and Raleigh's dreams. Mara didn't win the final battle, But she won something greater. She made the empire fear, showed them that people like her, like Lila, like you, could rise. You think of Lila, her chains unyielding. Mara fought for freedom, but Lila remains here, in the shack, grinding corn. You wonder, did Mara's fire reach her? Amos, with his justice queries, might say freedom isn't just breaking chains, but letting all sing. You watch Lila, eyes downcast, and sense a silent pulse, a dream, however small, still burning in her, as Mara's fire burns in you. Returning to the shack, you sit by Lila, the flickering fire a promise. Raleigh, with its cornfields, banishment rites, and silent songs, is part of a greater tale, of those who don't fall, though heavens turn away. Mara, Amos, Lila, you, all are sparks in that blaze, despite death, chains, or banishment's threat. Each linen thread Lila weaves, each axe swing you make, is a beat in Raleigh's song, resounding through rivers, fields, and spirits past. Dusk fades, and you rise, jug in hand, ready for a new day. Raleigh is a song unfinished, and you're a note within. If you're watching, send me a breath. What makes you rise, though the world is harsh? I want to feel your song. Hit. Like if Mara's fire glows in this tale, and subscribe to sing on with me. Raleigh awaits. A world where each scar is a melody, each dream an undying flame. A thin wisp of smoke curls from the fire in the oak shack in Raleigh, North Carolina, mingling with the cold night air as you sit by the loom, fingers tracing slowly over rough linen threads. Lila, the woman bound by chains, tends the fire, its flickering light dancing on her face like an unsung ballad. Echoes of Mara, the rebellious flame from Virginia's plains, her fateful battle in Atlanta, and her mysterious end, still burn in your mind, entwined with Amos's piercing questions and the banishment ritual's haunting shadow. But in this ancient world, where each breath defies the heavens, another story runs deeper than war or freedom. The story of healers, people like you, Lila, or Amos, striving to mend the tears in body and soul. You pause your weaving, rise, and step outside, your breath merging with the night's mist, carrying Chesapeake Bay's chill. In Raleigh, illness isn't just physical pain. It's a whisper from the heavens, a sign that harmony is broken. You've seen healers at Wilmington's market, not in white robes but worn linen, hands clutching herb pouches from Tennessee's forests. They're not just physicians, they're storytellers, bridges between humanity and unseen spirits. You recall an old woman in Savannah, eyes sharp as knives, diagnosing by feeling pulses, sniffing breath, asking, "What did you dream? What wind blew when your cough began?" Raleigh's healers believe the body is a melody, tuned by 4 elements: blood, water, fire, earth. Fever means your fire burns too hot, cooled by Virginia mint leaves. Fatigue signals earth weighing you down, cleansed with Oklahoma plains roots. You've seen them burn oak leaf smoke at Asheville's market to banish sick spirits from a child, or use Kentucky honey to dress wounds. These remedies, sometimes potent, sometimes futile, are the fragile thread between life and death. But in Raleigh, healing isn't just herbs. It's ritual, a faith that the heavens still listen. Illness spares no one. It can strike a Richmond hunter, an Arkansas weaver, or a slave like Lila. But healing isn't equal. You've seen Lila cough, hiding it, fearing a day's rest would bring Charleston's lash. Healers, however skilled, rarely tend to her kind. You wonder, if Mara lived, would she fight for Lila's right to be healed, to sing? Amos, with his justice queries, might ask, whose life holds more value? That question, like Ohio River wind, stirs your heart, revealing. In Raleigh, even the right to heal is a battle. Childbirth is another threshold. You've heard of Baltimore midwives, armed with experience and prayers, standing by mothers in shack corners. Each birth is a gamble, the heavens deciding who lives. You recall an Atlanta woman birthing under moonlight, neither she nor her child surviving dawn. Midwives, though singing ancient songs, couldn't stem the blood. Lila, you know, might face that threshold, but no one would sing for her. That injustice, like the night's chill, clings to you, making you question, why does this world divide even the right to life? Surgery, though rare, is a brutal rite. You've heard of a Tennessee hunter, leg broken in a hunt, his bone sawed with a Savannah copper knife, no anesthetic, biting leather to stifle screams. He lived, but never walked the same. Minor wounds, like Wilmington market cuts, can turn deadly if infected. You've seen a Richmond healer use honey and crushed oak leaves, but when the heavens turn away, nothing saves. Lila, you fear, would get no bandage if wounded. She'd work until she fell, as Mara fought to her last. Faith is the healer's guiding fire. You've seen them pray by Durham's Creek, offer at Asheville's market, hoping the heavens bless. But that faith is a burden. If someone doesn't heal, blame may fall on the healer, accused of offending Appalachian spirits. You think of Lila, her secret prayers whispered in shadow, and wonder, do the heavens hear her? Amos, with his truth-seeking questions, might ask, if the heavens don't heal, what do we fight for? That question, like moonlight, lights your heart, showing, in Raleigh, healing isn't just mending bodies, but stitching torn dreams. Returning to the shack, you sit by Lila, the flickering fire a promise. You think of Mara, Amos, the healers, yourself. Raleigh, with its cornfields, banishment rites, and silent songs, is a hymn to life, though death ever looms. Healers, like you, Lila, and Amos, keep that hymn's rhythm, despite chains, illness, or banishment's threat. Each linen thread you weave, each grind of Lila's pestle, is a vow. You're here, you'll never stop singing, however harsh the heavens. The shack's fire flares, a summons. Raleigh is a story unwritten, and you're its ink. If you're watching, send me a light. What makes you heal, though wounds run deep? I want to feel your pulse. Hit, like if you hear the healer's song, and subscribe to press on with me. Raleigh awaits. A world where each scar is a melody, each dream an undying flame. Silver moonlight drapes the oak shack in Raleigh, North Carolina, as you stand at the doorway, clutching a freshly woven linen thread, your gaze drifting to Lila tending the fire, her face veiled in thin smoke. Night crickets hum with the land's pulse, carrying echoes of Mara, Virginia's rebellious flame, Amos's sharp questions, the haunting banishment ritual, and the healer's mending hands. But in this ancient world, where each breath is a defiant song, another voice rises, a poem that never fades, woven by a woman named Ilara, who turned love and pain into immortal melodies, touching Raleigh's heart and souls like Lila's. You step outside, the night's chill from Chesapeake Bay seeping through your worn linen shirt, a reminder of all things fragile. Ilara, you've heard from Wilmington market traders, wasn't a warrior like Mara, a questioner like Amos, or a healer with Tennessee forest herbs. She was a poet storyteller, born in a small Savannah River village, where moonlight and stringed harps wove songs. Unlike Kentucky's war epics or Asheville market rituals, Ilara's poetry spoke of the heart, love, longing, fleeting moments, like moonlight gliding on water. You picture Ilara under a Savannah oak, cradling a small stringed harp, singing her poems to the village's young women. Her voice, they say, was like wind from the Smoky Mountains, gentle yet strong enough to stir stone. She didn't sing of war or power. She wove tales of a shy glance from a dear friend, a smile that quickens the heart, or the ache of parting from a loved one. You've heard a fragment of her poetry, passed by word at Richmond's market. Your moonlight, trembling me, but my laughter's voice you cannot hold. A few words, yet they steal your breath, as if Ilara saw your heart. Ilara's poetry wasn't just song, it was defiance. In Raleigh, where women like you are confined to shacks, where Lila cannot sing, Ilara dared to speak. She wrote in her own voice, not cloaked in myth or heroes. She named the women she loved, fearless, unhidden. You wonder, did she think of Lila, of those in chains, when she sang of heart's freedom? Amos, with his justice queries, might ask, "What is your love when the world forbids its song?" But Ilara, you sense, would answer with a new poem, like Oklahoma plains wind, uncontainable. Ilara's poems were sung on full moon nights by Savannah's firelight. You imagine young women, like you, gathered around her, drinking each word, as if learning to breathe anew. She taught them not just poetry, but how to find light in darkness, to turn pain into melody. Those songs spread from Savannah to Baltimore, Richmond to far markets, like birds soaring through Raleigh's heavens. But this world, you know, isn't kind to voices like Ilara's. Her poems, though beautiful, were threatened by those who feared the heart's truth. You've heard many of Ilara's poems are lost. Some were burned in villages like Charleston, where her sung love was deemed dangerous. Others faded, as their singers faced banishment or fell to illness. You found a cloth scrap at Asheville's market, etched with Ilara's verses, but faded like an eroding dream. Only fragments remain, passed by voices like yours, Lila's, Tennessee's healers. Yet those fragments, like moonlight, still shine, still stir your heart. Ilara, you feel, didn't sing for herself alone. She sang for Lila, for those denied voice. You watch Lila, hands grinding corn, and wonder, if Ilara were here, would she pen a poem for Lila, for dreams locked in chains? Mara, with her rebel fire, fought for freedom. But Ilara, with her poetry, fought for something else, the right to love, to feel, to be human. Amos, seeking truth, might find in Ilara an answer. Truth isn't just justice, but a heart daring to sing, though the world tries to choke it. Returning to the shack, you sit by Lila, the flickering fire a promise. You think of Ilara, Mara, Amos, yourself. Raleigh, with its cornfields, banishment rites, and silent songs, is a poem unwritten. Ilara, with her voice, left a line, a melody, echoing through rivers, fields, and spirits past. You, Lila, Amos, all are notes in that poem, despite chains, illness, or banishment's threat. Each linen thread you weave, each grind of Lila's pestle, is a verse declaring, "You're here, you'll never stop singing." Moonlight endures, like Ilara's gaze. Raleigh is a song of those unbowed, though heavens are harsh. You look at Lila, then to the sky, your heartbeat merging with earth and stars. Ilara, Mara, Amos, you, all are winds blowing through Raleigh, carrying dreams, however small. If you're watching, send me a melody. What makes you sing, though darkness surrounds? I want to hear your poem. Hit like if Ilara's voice resonates, and subscribe to weave on with me. Raleigh awaits, a world where each pain is a verse, each dream an undying song. As the first dawn breaks, painting Raleigh's cornfields in North Carolina with hues of pink, you stand by Durham's Creek, calloused hands gripping a clay jug, cool water spilling through your fingers. Lila, in the oak shack, grinds corn, the stone's rhythm a silent pulse blending with her gaze, a dream chained but never extinguished. Amos's questions of justice, Mara's rebellious fire, Ilara's immortal poetry, and the healer's mending efforts echo in your mind. But in this ancient world, where each breath is a defiance, there's a final story, not just of you, Lila, or Raleigh, but of humanity itself, a song of life, injustice, and legacies that never fade. You set the jug down, your breath mingling with morning mist, feeling Chesapeake Bay's chill seep into your skin. Raleigh, with its dusty shacks, harsh banishment rites, and whispered poems, is a mirror of humanity. Here, you've seen Mara's resilience, rising from pain to ignite rebellion in Virginia's plains. You've heard Amos's questions, sharp as Wilmington market knives, challenging justice and power. You've felt Ilara's poetry, soft as Savannah's moonlight, turning love into undying melodies. And you've witnessed Lila, though bound, grinding corn, still dreaming, a song no one can silence. Yet Raleigh is also a world of mystery and injustice. You think of the broken pottery shards, relics of banishment rites, where people like Amos could be erased for daring to ask. You recall Asheville market healers, striving to mend bodies with Tennessee forest herbs, but unable to free Lila from chains. You see death, a lurking specter, claiming Oklahoma Plains children, Baltimore mothers, Richmond hunters, sparing none. And you feel the heavens' harshness, where faith, though fierce, can summon storms from the Smoky Mountains if a ritual is forgotten. Injustice, you realize, is woven into Raleigh's song. Lila, with tireless hands, cannot sing with Alara, fight like Mara, or be healed like the free. Mara, though she lit a fire, fell in Atlanta, leaving an unsolved mystery. Amos, with his questions, risks banishment, like many before. And you, though weaving, chopping wood, praying, live under invisible blades. Banishment, illness, war. Raleigh, like humanity, is a world where light and shadow intertwine, where dreams are often choked before they soar. But in that harshness lies an unquenchable strength. You look at Lila, her eyes downcast, yet holding a small flame, like Mara's fire, like Alara's melody. You think of Amos, threatened but still questioning, seeking truth. You recall healers, though heavens turn away, offering herbs, singing. And you, a mere weaver, stand here, each linen thread a vow. You won't fall. Raleigh, with all its scars, is a song of resilience, of those who rise, though the world tries to break them. Raleigh's legacy, you see, isn't in stone houses or grain stores. It's in Mara, Lila, Alara, Amos, you, those who lived, dreamed, fought, though the heavens promised only trials. Mara, with her rebel fire, made empires tremble, leaving a song of defiance. Alara, with her poetry, taught that love, though forbidden, can soar through time. Amos, with his questions, sowed seeds of truth, banished or not. And Lila, though chained, proves dreams, however small, endure in shadow. You return to the shack, sitting by Lila, the flickering fire a promise. Raleigh isn't a tale of victory or defeat. It's a song of humanity, of those who dare to dream, love, question, live, though injustice weighs, mysteries surround, and heavens are harsh. You look at Lila, then to the dawn, your heartbeat merging with this land. Each linen thread you weave, each grind of Lila's stone is a note in that song, resounding through rivers, fields, and spirits past. Yet this song is also a warning. Raleigh teaches that injustice, like shadow, never fully fades. It reminds you Lila remains chained, Amos's questions are feared, Mara's fires can dim. But it also brings hope. As long as you rise, as long as you sing, the song endures. Raleigh, with its scars and dreams, proves humanity, though it falls, always finds a way to soar, like moonlight piercing darkness. The shack's fire flares, a summons. Raleigh is a legacy, not of triumph, but of resilience, of dreams that never die, of songs echoing through time. You, Lila, Mara, Alara, Amos, all are strokes in humanity's book, writing a story of those who dream, though the world is harsh. And that legacy, like dawn, will shine forever, immortal, reminding you that, however deep the darkness, light always finds a path. Raleigh lives, and its song resounds. If you're watching, send me a pulse. What makes you resilient, though the world tests you? I want to feel your light. hit, like if you hear Raleigh's song and subscribe to close this journey with me. Raleigh awaits, a world where each scar is a verse, each dream a flame, each heartbeat an undying legacy.